Hello my crafty friends, I have a small tutorial and an ornament that I want to show you, you ladies and gentlemen that are watching my channel. I had this a while back ago. It was probably about 15 years ago. So this is very vintage. I have sent a lot of ladies some of this red fringe trim. It is definitely vintage. I bought it about 15 years ago, and it was a 1,000-yard bolt. So I have 1,000 yards of this stuff. And I never really used it that much and couldn't figure out what to get it. You know, when I ordered it and got it online, I was like, what am I going to do with this? So every once in a while I get in a creative mood and decide to play with it. And it's, I really don't want to get rid of it because I really like the pattern. But it's something that you don't really use every day. It'd be pretty on a box, and I do plan on doing a box in this for like Valentine's. Well, anyway, I played around with it over the weekend, and I said, I want to do something with this, and I had it in my mind anyway. So I turned around and I made some of these beautiful red tassel Christmas ornaments. Aren't these gorgeous? So I made 7 of them. And this is made out of this. So I turned that into this. And I made, like I said, I got 7 of them made. And I still have enough trim of this particular trim here, this gold trim. I ran out of this red sequin trim, though, and I'll have to get some more of that. But this is how they all turned out. Aren't they gorgeous? And they have the fringe is now loose and really beautiful. But this is what they turn out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you ladies how to do make one of these. Some of you have already this lace fringe, and I'm pretty sure you ladies are going to get some more fringe in the future, the ones that I send Happy Mails to. And this will give you an idea of what you can do with this fringe trim. Okay, what I have done is I've cut 7 inches of 4mm beaded trim. I crocheted if you notice, I crocheted mine. But see, that's the first idea I had. But I thought about making it more professional looking by adding the beaded trim. So you need 7 inches of 4mm beaded trim, 15 inches of red fringe trim. You can actually use regular red, if you don't want to have this kind of fringe around, you can pretty much use different kinds of fringe if you have something different than this. And I used 3.5 inches of this gold trim that I bought from India. But you can use any other kind of trim besides this. You don't have to necessarily have my gold trim. You can also strip of the gold beaded mesh. So I'm using the gold mesh to replace the red sequin that I ran out of. Okay, so what I'm going to start out doing is I take my 7-inch 4mm beaded trim after I've cut my 15 inches. And you can also, if you want to make this spread, you can use 12 inches instead of 15 inches, and you will still get the same effect. So you don't have to necessarily do 15 inches, but I like the 15 inches because I have extra, and I can do what I want to with it because I have so many rolls of it. So, but yeah, y'all might not have as much, and you want to get more ornaments out of that, you can do the 12 inches. So what I did is I took my 7-inch beaded trim, and I glued it in the first little section of the trim right here. So it's already been hot glued, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling this trim. And I try to do it as tight as I can, and I try to get it where it stays. It's not going to stay. Now, every once in a while, take your glue gun. I'm a lefty, guys, so you're going to see some weird looking creativity here. I take my glue gun and I just put a little dab of glue, and be careful because the glue is hot, and I have sensitive fingers. I always have, so I really don't like getting burnt by the glue gun, and I have gotten burnt, like 3rd-degree burns with my thing. Now, also down at the bottom, you definitely want to keep that kind of shaped so it will look, evenly. So you just keep going around, and I'm going to try to do this fast, but you can take your time and do it. I just want to show you, how I make it so you guys can If you have any of that old fringe trim around, and I'm pretty sure many of us do have some kind of oddball trim around that we don't ever mess with. Now see how that's a little bit larger? So you just kind of want to tuck it a little bit. See how I did that? And that just gives it that same little size. And I'll take a little more glue gun. Let me see, take a little glue right there. See if I can get that. And if you want to, sometimes you can just go down a little bit so that you're getting a tight fit on the tassel. No, Haley. No, you're not allowed up here right now. Come on, move. Okay, the baby's sleeping right now. She's in the recliner, so she's being a good one right now, so I can do this. Okay, then you just roll some more. Just keep rolling it. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting it. Now, when you get to the very end, what you want to do is you want to fold it under. Right, like this right here. Just tuck it inside like that. And then you take your glue gun. Hang on, let me switch over. It's kind of awkward the way I'm doing this. You take your glue gun and you just go down with a little layer of glue. And then you kind of like be careful not to touch the glue because the glue is hot and it will burn. And just, you know, fit it right on that edge. And there you go. Now you have your tassel. So now let's see if I can get this to just kind of want to get it as tightly as possible here. So you won't see the, I can't stand those glue things. Yuck. That's the only thing I hate about the glue gun. You always get that goopy stuff. You know, and being red too. Now, a glue gun, you know, hot glue can show. So that's why you're doing this, so you won't be showing off that icky glue. Now you take your tassel and just shake it like that. And just kind of take your hands and kind of like, you know, straighten the bottom out so you can get a good cut on it. And I'm going to show you the next trick that I do. So far you've got part of the tassel, but you haven't finished it yet. So let me just move my glue gun a minute. And now I'm going to take this. And we're going to, hang on just a minute. We're going to straighten it out the best we can with our fingers. If you have a comb, you know, some people use combs. You know, a crafting comb or something, if you have one of those. And all it is just a regular store-bought comb that you buy from the store, but you don't brush your hair with it. You just use it for crafts. But I just do it. I mean, I'm so used to doing it this way. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take this, and you're going to get it a real tight feel right there. And you're going to go across just a tiny bit of the edge. Maybe about 1/4 inch around there. And you just take your scissors. And you will need a good pair of scissors, because if you don't have a good pair of scissors, the fringe will not cut. Okay, and I just kind of get that in right there. And see, I missed a little spot, but I can touch this up as I go. And usually what I do to make sure that I have gotten all the fringe, I just kind of like do a quick little trimming. That's why I got this bowl over here, because you don't want to make a mess in your... And it can get messy if you don't have the bowl. Now underneath, if you notice, there was a few loops that I missed. So I just kind of like go through underneath and just kind of clip the areas that I didn't quite get the fringe cut. So if you have any leftover like little circles there, all you got to do is just take your scissors and just go through. And then shake it a little bit. Do this, show it again. And then you can just put this up against there, and you can just mildly trim it. Doesn't have to be perfect, you know, because these are handmade ornaments. I mean, you can get it if you want to get it perfect, you can. But I don't really, you know, as long as it looks decent and presentable, and it doesn't look like it's too off, it's usable. Okay, so now you've got your tassel. So there you go. You now have your tassel on your trim. Okay, now I'm going to move this bowl a minute, and I'm going to take this, well, let's do the bling first. I think that's because I did it first. Okay, you're going to take your bling. If you want to cover this up, you can, and that's usually where, I just use that as the back, you know, because it's, to me, I'd just rather keep it that way. Alright, now what I'm going to do is take my glue gun right here, and I'm just going to kind of mildly go across this with a little bit of glue, because this stuff is hot, and just press it down and try to get it on there as evenly as possible. And then I go around, and if I put too much, just spread it. That's all you have to do, just spread it out. And I got shaky hands, y'all. I've always had shaky hands. A lot of it's nerve damage from my back injury, and with me having lupus too, I have what you call like a mild shake, and it just never goes away. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but when I'm trying to do like crafting or something, it does show that I have a little bit of a nervous shake. But that's for me, it's typical and normal, and it doesn't really bother me. As long as people don't poke fun of me, that's all I gotta say. You know, just don't poke fun of me, because I can't help it. And you know, people in this world, they all, you know, we all have problems. So, okay. So now what I've done is I've glued my bling on. So now you're starting to get a shape. And now we're going to take this, and we're going to put, I like it to show the, now also, if you have any of this fringe trim, and you have, this Indian trim, and you have to cut into it. See, this is beaded and sequined. And the only disadvantage about this beaded and sequined is when you cut into it, you can lose beads. So what I do is before I cut into it, I will take some hot glue, and I will go underneath here, between this sequin here and this sequin, and I'll do like a, might you know, do underneath it if I have to, but usually I just do this little area right here, and you can't really notice the hot glue, but it will keep the beads from falling off and losing more beading on your trim, so that way you're still getting a good trim to use for later on. Now what I have done here is I've already done the gluing. You know, like I said, I took my glue gun just like this right here and just went underneath. And then I just put a little tiny layer across that, and that was all it took. Now, I like to use, since this is my back, and you can't really see, you know, like I said, you can't really see that it's the back of here. It's not that noticeable. So now what I do is I want to cover this up. Oh, why does this look different from the one that I had? Oh, I see. Okay. So it needs to go here. So let me get just a little more bling, because I'm using a different, I didn't realize that, because I'm using a different trim instead of the red sequins. I'm going to have to alter it, have something for it. So let me just do this real quick. So I'm just going to try to get that where I need it, which is right there. Okay, so let me just cut this off. I never throw these pieces away. I use these and never throw them away. There's always something you can use them for, and eventually you will find something that you can use them for. So we'll start in the back of gluing this together here. And if you want to, you can use a wider trim. You don't have to use exactly the same type of trim I have. You know, all you got to do once you got the tassels rolled, you can put lace on it. You can, you can do anything you want to with this fringe trim. I mean, you don't have to necessarily have exactly looking like mine. I mean, everybody has an imagination, and everybody can pretty much sew. You know, they have their own ideas, and you know what you create is going to turn out just as beautiful, probably even prettier than mine, because you know when one person's idea can sometimes turn others' projects more beautiful than what the person actually did from the get-go. And that's because someone had that idea that they got from you, and they took advantage of, you know, the teachings, and they turned out with a pretty beautiful piece of their own masterpiece. And I've seen this happen numerous times with the ladies in here. One will start a snow globe. I think it was Juliana that started the snow globe with hers, and that snow globe is now all across the YouTube channels, and I'm seeing prettier and more and more beautiful ones each day. So, you know, one person's idea turned into several women enjoying their crafting and making things. I'm hoping Haley does not come over here with the baby right now. Okay, now I had to put an extra layer on it because I didn't have the red sequin, because I already run out of it. So you could see there was a little bit of sequin there that was kind of messed up. Now, now I can take this and glue this on, which I'm going to. Go ahead and glue that on, and that will be added to that. And we'll just go ahead and do that. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll start on, let me see, kind of hard doing little tutorials here. As you know, I'll just spread on the glue like that. And I'll just find a little spot here. Where's my front? That's my back. Okay, and what I'll do is I want to put that on the front. Make sure it's glued really good. I'm sorry, I keep going out of the motion here. And then I want to take and pour glue on this. I'm trying to look into the camera to make sure everybody's seeing what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm so glad I finally got a new video camera. I tell you what, that's a pain in the tail not having one. And the other one I had, I mean, it was just not, it was losing its timing. I don't know what happened to it, but it was being an aggravation. Okay, now when you get to this end here, you definitely want to make sure that you're closed up really good on that one end, so it, you know, goes together and looks kind of neatly. And you just feel your way with your ribbon. Now, see, because this was a little bit smaller than the other ones, I should have made it a little bit bigger, but I kind of wanted to do one, you know, that everybody could make without having to use so much trim, like the 15 inches. Okay, this is how this turned out now. So you've got that. Isn't that beautiful? And you got that. So the next thing you do, I'm not going to do it on this one because, like I said, I've already made what I wanted to make. I may finish it, I may not. It just depends. I just kind of wanted to do a little tutorial on it. Let me just get a spot right there. And I wanted to show everybody, you know, about how to make these without having to go out and, you know. There we go. Hang on just a minute. Alright, there we go. Okay, so this is your front of it. And now what you can do, now if you notice with me, this is how it's turned out so far. Isn't that pretty? But on mine, if you noticed, I put some gold ribbon flowers on the top, which is right up there. That's an option. You can do without if you don't want to have it. You know, in fact, I wished I would have done the gold mesh bling because they really see the difference between the two. So, like I said, your imagination can go. You can turn one tassel flower, tassel fringe into one ornament, and then your imagination can turn into something else. So this is what I've done so far. And, you know, like I said, you can put the, but see, you know, it's really neat on there. It's very neatly rolled. So you don't have to have the gold ribbon roses, but you can. And something else you want it to do, if you want to use paper flower roses, you can put like some little red paper flower roses up here on the top. Or, you know, instead of wrapping this up, which, you know, I still recommend that you wrap it up because I think it looks prettier, but you can, you know, wrap this up with it, or you could take another ribbon. You know, your imagination can go. And like I said, this is how it turned out. So I think I did pretty good. But any of you ladies that have some of my red fringe trim that you just don't know what the heck to do with it, you're staring at it and you're saying, why did she send me such ugly trim? Which, you know, I must admit, when I got it, I was like, well, it's pretty, but it's just, you know, it is pretty trim. I mean, it's pretty fringe, but, you know, what am I going to do with it? You know, really, what is there to do? Now, I was thinking about, like I said, a real pretty altered box with this. That would really look pretty. You know, a black covered box, black painted box with this fringe trim all the way around it, giving it that red design, which I am planning on doing. And that's why this is cut out. And also, you can make these Christmas tassels to put on your tree or to give as gifts. And look how beautiful they turned out. Aren't they gorgeous? So what turned out to be a trim that you don't know what you're going to do with is now looks like this. Big difference. And they were fun to make. Didn't take long to make them. Very fun to make. And I now have like 7 of these to decorate around in my home. The thing with these, they don't necessarily have to go on the tree if you don't want them on the tree. You can put them as doorknob hangers. So if you make a large enough trim right up here, you don't have to exactly have the size trim that I had. You can make them longer. And you can hang these on doorknobs. I mean, just so many things. You could put these on Christmas presents. Just tape it on at the end of a box and give it away as a Christmas present. But they get a Christmas ornament out of this, and that's what I'm doing with some of my family members. I made some of these tassels that they can use as Christmas ornaments for later on, for next year. And I'm going to be taping these on the end of their gift-wrapped box, so they will, as a bow. So this is going to be a substitute for a bow. I'm going to put a little bow on top of this, and just, you know, have it overlapped, and they will have a handmade Christmas ornament. So this is how you can make them, and take your little Fringe trim and have a good time with it, ladies. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.